Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. This is the Megabase Challenge, and in today's episode here, we're going to be improving the base here. We're also going to be melting down some plastic ladders here to make some naphtha right there, just to kind of improve some of the environment things that are going on here inside of the base. The other thing is also going to be reworking the base as far as its power stuff is concerned, so that it's going to be much more efficient. However, I've got some other things for you as far as other improvements that I've been working on here in the real life, and we'll also take a look at some potential updates or new things, new features that are going to be coming to the game in the next upgrade, whenever that happens, since we have not seen what that's going to be as of just yet, unless there was some sort of live stream that I missed. So I got a lot of things to share with you today, and it's not going to be about building a giant chunk of equipment. It is going to be about improving things. Speaking of things that have been improved, check this out. Yes, this is my little clapper device, and as you can see, it is different than the last one I built. Let's just go over the different improvements here. Let me show you it. So jumping on over here to my CAD program, you can see some of the things that I've done here. One, I made the base wider. That way it can just sit, flat and stay, upright. And it works really good. The other thing is that I've also added another magnet inside of here. Now this is from Pinball Dude 97. He says you should add magnets that attract each other to the other end, so not on just the back side here where we had the previous ones, and then that would make it louder, clappier, and better. Just make sure that the magnets aren't too strong so that you can actually open it in the first place. So that's what I did. Check it out. Watch. Boom. Inside of there, magnet. There's another magnet. Ha! How about that? Now when this sucker claps down, it doesn't bounce back up. You get none of that bounciness. It's super crisp. You just wait till you hear it. All the other improvements were more or less to the fit and finish of it, so that this one actually went together quite a bit better. I don't know if you can tell if the text is more crisp on one than the other. Maybe not. Just for a reference, here's the old one. Oh, that was all right. But check out the new one. You ready? Ready? This is gonna be dope. That's nice. Anyhow, focusing back in the game here, this is what I got going on. Now, a couple of the things that I have been doing here has been to improve the power situation already. So I've already done a little bit of work. Just guys to let you know, I did a little bit of work, just not playing the game, not commenting. So the two things I did here is I added a little bit more natural gas there, and I started working on my power system that I talked about last time in the last episode. That revolves around the idea of moving this little power transformer down, basically making this my main power source for the base. So the conduit, or basically my heavy watt wire, the big main power source, is going vertically right up into my base, where I have a couple more power transformers up here, and then that will power the rest of my base. Right now this stuff is running off of normal, just run-of-the-mill wire, which is 1 kilowatts, and unfortunately I can't run everything off of that wire. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to replace that 1 kilowatt wire with the new wire that we got in the last upgrade, and that is the conductive wire right here. So the conductive wire can carry just 2 kilowatts, which isn't a huge amount, but all I have up here is just some small things running. It's not like I have a ton of stuff going on up here. So I'm going to rerun this, and that'll be just dropping off and powering everything in the base here. That way I can disconnect the power source that I have up here on the right and actually rebuild that. The other thing is I kind of deconstructed this stuff because this was all crap over here. So I got rid of that, and that's kind of my game plan to take care of that right now. The other thing I want to work on here is putting in some nice liquid locks so that I can pass through this area, get into this area down here with a lot of carbon dioxide, and get rid of this cold generator inside of here so it stops producing extra heat, so therefore we use less power to keep this at the right temperature. The last and final thing I want to do in this area here is actually just connect these two zones right here so that my polluted oxygen is over here on the left, and then you just run through here to grab essentially the slime, right? So I grab the slime and then I put it right on the dust caps. So therefore that entire chamber is contained. Speaking of keeping that entire chamber contained, I want to have naphtha right up here so that I can get into this area without having carbon dioxide get out. I may have already mentioned that. The last thing is the nice comfy beds. I want to improve the sleeping situation for my duplicants. They've been here for now 611 cycles, so I think it's good time to replace these cots with something a little bit more fancy. All of that involves making lots and lots of plastic and lots of refined metal, so that's what we have going on down here. So currently things are running just fine down here. The one thing I do see though is some natural gas that's kind of escaping over here to the left, and that's not good. So what I really want to do is melt down that plastic. And I remember you guys talking about this. Matter of fact, I think I can find a comment about it. Let me just look. I can't find the comment right now. But there was a comment explaining that the ladders, as compared to something that is just like a block right there, seem to conduct the heat quite a bit faster. So if you build them, if you build your basically, if you make plastic ladders, they will melt faster than just leaving plastic in the hot area alone. So what I should be able to do here is just make some nice little plastic ladder. Matter of fact, I could probably do it right here if I can get rid of this crude oil. And then that will just kind of be a done system. Or maybe I want to do it right up here. I don't know. Let's see if I can mop this stuff up real quick. And then I could at least have the naphtha right down here ready to go. Alright, so if I deconstruct this, and then maybe I move this pitcher pump down, then I should be able to build a bunch of plastic ladders right up here and just suck them right up. Alright, so let's just make a couple of plastic ladders. Pretty simple. So each one of those is 100 kilograms. The first thing I notice is that kind of spreads out the amount of plastic you have in a single area, but you can see how fast that temperature is going up, which is interesting, really. The surrounding area here, it's 95. If we take a look at the temperature overlay, it's quite a bit hotter over here than it is over on this side. Makes me wonder if that's going to be hot enough. From the looks of it, it does not look like it's going to be hot enough. So we'll deconstruct that and see if we can get it to melt over here. Alright, so once again I'm seeing that at first it looked like it was doing alright, but then it kind of looks like it's just sucking in all of that heat and not quite warming up to the point where it's going to melt, at least right away. Alright, so while that stuff is getting toasty, let's go ahead and work on the wire system. So I have this base set up where most of it was actually just run by manual generators for like the real little stuff, although this big unit over here was powering like all of the oxygen system. And then we have a coal generator system that's running some stuff over here on the left, so things really got spread out and kind of crazy. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is deconstruct the wires that I don't need, and then I'll work on, I think I can just paint over the other wires and go from there. See, there's some ones that are just kind of left dangling around. Like, you don't need those. Just get rid of them. Okay, so the power system is off to a fairly decent start. Just connecting everything I need. There we go. However, I'm going to need a lot of refined iron. So I've basically got iron ore on continuous. However, that is throttled by the amount of temperature, I guess, or the amount of cooling capacity I have inside of this system over here. So as we can see, the temperature inside of here has increased a little bit. We can see that it is cooling down, and it's trying to cool it about as quickly as it can. But I suppose one of the things I could do is just let it run a little bit hotter so I can produce more wire. So I'll bring it up to 30 degrees Celsius and kind of go from there. One of the things I'd like to do inside of this environment right here is add in a couple more thermal plates to this to kind of let that temperature move around. Diamond is very thermally conductive, so therefore I can use that to kind of move stuff around. And then I can get rid of this ladder here, which is kind of awkward. So we can make that improvement. We've got some crazy amount of natural gas down here. It's not a bad thing. But I'm going to dig down and make sure I get this diamond down here, because that'll be real nice to have. And look at Harold. Harold is all grown up now. He's now level 50, so he can actually run around and do some good work. So I'm going to put him to work digging and maybe a little bit of building. No, we're just going to go with dig. That's going to be his job to dig down here. Everybody else can come down and build. Okay, so for my first candidate to kind of get a little bit of a liquid lock. That's going to be in this area over here, just to keep that natural gas inside. I don't want that continuing to flow out. As you can see, that we have mostly natural gas in this area now, so that will be, it'll be good to get that set up and sealed off. Despite all of these natural gas generators continuously running, you can see it just makes more and more natural gas. It's kind of a different equation now compared to some of the other things that I've done. Since the natural gas generators don't run continuously, there's some differences there. One, it doesn't produce quite as much heat because it's not wasting power and converting that wasted power into heat. Well, not necessarily, but it's always generating heat when it's running. The other thing is that since it's not always running, it's not always consuming the natural gas, whereas the fertilizer synthesizers are pretty much running continuously because of all the crazy amount of polluted water I have. Looks like these ladders are slowly melting, so that is working out okay. Alright, so I have auto bottling turned on here, and we're just going to deliver it right over here. And hopefully this will stay in that area right there, just kind of seal it up. Otherwise, if it flows around, then I might have to do a little something extra. I have another oil reservoir down here, so that's good. I really haven't built a piece of equipment to actually make use of that just yet. So that's one, and then I have another one that's going to be, that is over here. However, those are in some really hot areas. Alright, so there we go. That should be all sealed off and working good. Nearly all of this is now melted, so this has actually worked out just fine. Okay, so here is kind of an interesting comment from a couple videos ago. So Jake was talking about potentially adding an environment outside of the current map itself, maybe a top of the level, be at the top of the asteroid or the top of, you know, the cave or world or whatever sort of thing we're in, because we've had a couple different challenges and stuff like that talking about some other interesting things. And we brought up the idea of potentially some other units such as like solar panels to use to generate power. And what this really leads me into is kind of a sneak peek at some of the things that are in the game, even though we can't necessarily access them. So this is from Octo Jones. Now, Octo Jones shared this with me actually a while ago, and I didn't bring it up because I thought we would see the latest upgrade, you know, a little bit sooner, and we might actually be able to see what was in that upgrade before I show you everything here. Alright, so what he linked me here is an image of all these different pieces of equipment that's actually inside of the game. So he also wanted to say Burninator, Mad Frog, and Hoover are all to thank when it comes to actually getting a sneak peek here at some of the equipment here that's inside the game. So let's just start at the top here and try to think through what are some of the things that we might potentially see. Up here on the top left is a crafting station. That's actually really quite interesting. I'm not sure what you would be making unless it's an enhanced excavator. Now that is potentially something that we could excavate that is currently not excavatable within the game, or you could just get +10 to digging or something like that. Currently the exosuit gives you a bonus to digging, so maybe that bonus would go away from the suit because that doesn't make sense, as you know, compared to having a excavator that you could use. I'm not sure what this dude is. Possible new NPC built with crafting, maybe a new suit of some sort, but I don't know. That definitely looks like some sort of NPC. Who knows what happens there? Maybe it's an alien that flies around. Some hammers for the crafting animation, a generic fabricator. I'm not sure what you would make with that. Here's a cool one though, and this is probably one that I think a lot of us would look forward to, is a burner or some way to generate heat that is of high temperature with fuel bricks to match. So that could be used for many things, which would be really useful. Probably runs off of coal or something like that. A carpet might be something that you could use to, I don't know, decorate with potentially. Maybe you can hang it. I don't know. I don't know exactly what you do with a carpet. Maybe it's like a new floor tile or something like that, because it's obviously carpet. I don't know why you'd hang it on the wall. Only I hang it on the wall for soundproofing, but everybody else usually uses carpet on the floor. But anyhow, excavation bomb. Are you kidding me? That's probably made with a crafting table of some sort, but that looks dope. I want to check that out. That would be absolutely awesome. Bones are already in the game, and we've seen that, or at least we've seen the skeletons. We haven't necessarily seen individual bones. Water gun, maybe for putting out fires? I'm not sure. And that's interesting. But along with that, I think there was a comment about having tanks, or potentially having tanks, which they don't yet have in the game. That was a previous comment on the last video. Oh, here's that comment that I was talking about as far as melting plastic is way faster when you build it into ladders. So Yako was talking about that. That dude has a lot of really good recommendations. Oh, can't find it. Maybe I gotta search for like a winky face or something like that. Searching for winky face. Why haven't they made gas tanks or gas storage as a practical part of this game yet? And liquid. So that was talked about right here. So now we might actually be able to see that inside of the game. There's at least a liquid reservoir, as we can see right here. Water tank plus cooler. The general thought here, at least in my opinion, is that our duplicants are going to have to consume water, which kind of makes sense, because right now they just pee liters and liters of liquid without ever taking it in. But, you know, you do actually have to drink. Here's the coolest part that I think is going to potentially be in the game. A fishing station with fishing hooks. We might actually be able to get some fish that swim around and be able to make our own little fish tanks. Hearing protection. I don't know if noise is going to become part of the game. That would be an interesting dynamic, but that would be yet another overlay that you might have to manage, so I'm not so sure. That might be a little bit too tedious. That's just temporary art, very temporary. Egg incubator, though, that looks interesting, along with some eggs, so you might be able to hatch new animals. So I was talking about a hatchery last time, and it might be possible to actually make more of those animals, or insects, or whatever it is, potentially to make them and grow them. So along with that is a very complicated chunk of something down here, which is a seed splicer. I'm not sure what that would all be about, but then there's also a fruit egg, a flute egg. Along with that seems like a new flying animal down here. You can kind of get some sort of idea of what it is, but I'm not sure what its purpose is. It looks kind of angry, kind of mean, like it might actually attack you. And we haven't had a real aggressive animal in the game just yet. I mean, every once in a while they attack you a little bit, but it hasn't been like it would actually kill your duplicate. Next up here we have a gas mask. Interesting. Wonder what that would be all about. Right now, if you go into an area where it's like chlorine or something like that, you suffocate, but you don't have any ill effects. So maybe that's something that would be brought into the game. Fool's gold. I'm not sure if that's in the game yet. I think I did see it as part of the debug, but maybe not. I like the idea of a grabby claw, being able to reach things that are further away than you would normally be able to grab them. That would be, I could see that being useful in like restricted access areas. We also see another thing down here, which is another animal, like a lot of groundhog mobs. So here's a new mob. You can get some sort of idea of what that's going to look like. It'll kind of run around and dig, and I wonder if it'll destroy your stuff like a normal groundhog would. I've had some groundhog problems this year, so I might take out some vengeance on these guys. Another thing that we have here is lava lamp. So that's pretty cool. Add a little bit of decor. Looks pretty neat. Kind of a high-end decor item, of which we don't currently have as far as lights are concerned. So I like that. Laser burner. Not sure what that's used for at all, but looks like a pretty intense machine right there. We already have seen the massive heatsink, which is the crystal cooler, as I've kind of called it that. So we know what that is. That's just a cooler that uses up a little bit of hydrogen to... It's basically a giant Weezwort, is what it really is. We got a metal reclaimer. I don't know if this is something that is already kind of there or not there with the recent rock crusher. So I don't know. Same with the neutronium droplets, or the drops right here, which are currently undiggable. But I don't know, you can still destroy them inside of debug mode, so I don't know about that one. Here's the cool thing about, as far as like compressing gases, the oxygen pressurizer, or oxalite is called rock, or the oxalite. So there might be a way to create like compressed gases here, or compressed tanks that you might be able to tap into at some point, or maybe create areas of higher pressure that then are allowed to flow into other things. I don't know. High pressure lines, potentially. Maybe not. I don't see the lines anywhere, so I'm not sure what that's used for, but or what they're thinking there, but I think it's kind of interesting. Right down here we have a new tree with a new berry, so you know, there's lots of things to grow. We also have a plant heat bulb. That's interesting, another way to generate heat. And then we also have a plant air conditioner, which is kind of the opposite of the heat bulb, potentially allowing you to incubate plants quicker, which I think would be a useful way to, you know, basically grow farms and grow them accurately depending on what it is you're trying to grow. So I like that idea right there. If you can provide power, if you have excess power, you can grow plants, you know, faster. So that's a cool machine right there. Down here, though, is potentially one of my favorite things, which is the Pyro Fire FX, man. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe finally they're going to bring in some fireworks into the game and blow some stuff up. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily look like it's massive amounts of fire, but it does look like there's a potential chance for things to combust. So maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see right there. We also have some other ones down here. A little skeleton, a salt lamp right there. Radium. Interesting. We don't have a nuclear reactor just yet, but that might happen. Stasis chamber right there. So that's an interesting idea. If you don't need your duplicants active, you might be able to put them inside of a stasis pod and put them on standby. Interesting. Or with the thoughts of the other ones, potentially building some sort of ship that then flies away off to another system, which would be really cool, is if you can have many bases and they can, you know, ship things to each other, which is like a completely different game. But I don't know. Stasis chamber right there. And right next to there is the solar panel I was talking about. There's a lot of stuff here, so we can just keep rolling through. The solar panel, we already know that we have the little bugs that fly around that give off the light, so that's one potential opportunity to use the solar panel right there. But who knows, maybe there's some light available on the edges of the map if you can dig out that far. Okay, so moving on here, a micro smelter. So maybe if you just need a little bit of metal ore or something like that, there's an opportunity. A water suit. Now right now an exosuit can go underneath water, which doesn't necessarily, you know, need to be, but maybe this is either a lower tier exosuit for like the water suit, or maybe there's a limit that will be applied to the exosuit that you therefore need a water suit if you're going to go underwater, which is a cool idea potentially for a different style map that has lots and lots of water, maybe like an island style map where everything you need is underwater and you have to go down. I think there's some really cool opportunities for some different style of maps for some different challenges. And as we've known here on my channel, we've always tried to do some sort of crazy little challenge, and I think that's an interesting idea. Wall poster, you know, you can hide some stuff in the background, potentially a higher decor, larger area as well. Or at least it looks like it's a larger area, potentially. Just going by the images right there. Steel texture, I'm not so sure about that. Wall lamp, another light. A different type of gas joiner and splitter for both liquid, giving you an opportunity to split off to the side, which is cool. Or maybe that's another way to join multiple streams together for one liquid pipe. I think that would actually be really, really useful rather than using the bridge continuously. So I would expect to see these hopefully here pretty soon. Sorry, I'm not the developer. I have no idea when or if any of this is going to be in the game. So don't hold me to that. Although I'm just saying, I would like it if that was in the game. The last thing we see down here is a petrol generator, but that's already in the game, and it's called a petroleum generator. So some of this stuff has already been incorporated, so you can see that this here is some, you know, a look behind the scenes that some clever people have really dug up there to kind of show you what might potentially end up inside of the game here, potentially in the next update or in some update in the near future. The other thing I've been, at least I know is potentially going to be a part of the next upgrade, since they've been talking about it on the forums, is some performance improvements for the actual game as far as, you know, once you get into larger, you know, paths and all of that stuff, that continue to kind of, you know, they're working on that to increase the frame rate, to increase the efficiency of your duplicants running around and making choices. As we can see right now, in my base currently, I run about 30 frames per second, and I have a pretty strong computer. Although I'm also recording over here, but that is not much load really. But I can see if you don't have a system that's quite as powerful as mine, you know, running a base this large might end up looking like a slideshow at some point. So which of those pieces of equipment would I like to see? I think I would like to see the burner and fire. Or maybe the burner, maybe that's probably where that fire FX comes from, is from that burner. Not necessarily everything's gonna blow up. I bet you that's what it is. That's probably the top of my list. That or just being able to join the pipes. I mean, that would make my life a lot more simple. Okay, so while we were away, we melted down quite a bit more plastic. As we can see, we have some down here. So I have a couple of opportunities or a couple of areas where I can make ourselves another naphtha lock. So we've already taken care of this one. It seems like it's maintaining just fine because I've run this oil refinery quite a bit. As you can see, the amount of petroleum I have up there. Temperature-wise, this is around 30 degrees Celsius inside of here. And I'm not sure I've actually been able to make any more conductive. I've made a little bit of iron, but not much. I might just have to bump up that temperature inside of there and then let it cool down over some time later. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deconstruct this storage compactor, which is the one that currently holds all of my seeds. So let's just copy these settings and move them up there. And I can also get rid of this refrigerator for a little bit. No. Okay, so now I'll put the bottle emptier right there. That'll be good. And I'm just going to go ahead and deconstruct this stuff. I don't need it. And I don't really need to go up here right now. I could just kind of leave this locked off for a little while until I get everything built up. The other thing I was doing while we were talking about the rest of that stuff is I was just digging up more area. You can see how much area I was able to dig over here. I'm also digging up a lot over here. Just kind of explore the map a little bit more. Looks like I have another cold biome over here. Matter of fact, that would be really useful right about now. Especially if there was some more wheezeworts that I could get access to. Okay, so here's a nice little bottle emptier. We're going to set this one up. Make another lock over here. Enable auto bottling. And just roll with it. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and increase the temperature down here to... We're going to go all the way up to 50 degrees Celsius. That should allow this metal refinery to run quite a bit more so that I can get all the wires I need. So one of the other things I've been working on here is a new webcam setup, which you guys can see the results of right now. So I built a couple of things. I built a little lens hood today. This is all stuff I did in like 20 minutes, you know, so I just whipped it up real quick. Little lens hood right here. And that keeps any of the light from above from hitting that lens and causing it to kind of have lens flares and stuff like that inside of the lens, which is really important, especially with like my windows and stuff being right next to me, all that. And that's one of the difficulties I had with the previous webcams, because I didn't ever have that. And then just a simple little mount to kind of stick it up and get it set. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the new webcam setup. I like it. I think it works pretty good. And it's kind of an interesting, you know, interesting thing. I think a lot of people use this for like Raspberry Pis and stuff like that, or maybe security cameras, but the M12 little mount on that is an interesting one because I might be able to put even better lenses on it to have a lower depth of field so that the green screen behind me is easier to crop out. But right now I think, I don't know, it's working pretty good. The one thing it doesn't have though is a microphone, which is not a big deal because I don't use it, because I got this one. So many things going on. So my 3D printer's been running like crazy. Matter of fact, I've been printing like every single day. Not just here, but also at work as well. Okay, so I think it's about time that we actually bring in another duplicate to this base. So let's go ahead and figure out who we're gonna bring in. Alrighty, so I'm gonna bring in Frankie here. Food quality, terrible. Decor expectations, 5. Stress response, destructive, not a bad thing. Early bird, so that's pretty cool. Plus 2 to all skills. How about that? Is biohazardous, which isn't any good. Astopia, gastrophobia. Cannot perform the job cook. I feel like me and Frankie are alike. Except for the early bird part. That's not me at all. Welcome. This is where you get to sleep. You got the best bed in the house, man. Check it out. I wonder if I'm going to have enough oxygen though to could give it all these different duplicants. Looks like we're pumping like crazy, but I don't know if we're pumping quite enough. Frankie's only job is to sweep. There you go, man. Run around, sweep things up, get your skill level up. There we go. Got ourselves a little bit of a liquid lock here. So that seems like it's all ready to go. We're pumping the oxygen out of this space, so that should work out. I can close this off and then deconstruct that. No, no, no. Oh, come on, Bubbles. See, here it is. Duplicant's first opportunity they get. Oh. Bubbles does not like Harold. Are you kidding me, Doctor? How? What? Seriously. How'd you even climb through that? No. No, 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 no. Priority level 3. We'll get rid of it. Stop going up there. I swear, my duplicants. They hate me. Uh-oh. Crap. All my duplicants are running inside of here. And now this suit is just waiting for oxygen constantly. Because they all want to get into the shower. No. Stay out of the shower. This is only for Frankie. Oh, man, these duplicants. Everybody can get out. Get out of here, Harold. Frankie, what are you doing down here, man? Get your suit on. Now my duplicants, they like have their suit on, but they don't have their helmet. Everybody just forgets their helmet constantly. So one of the things I've been doing here is replacing tiles with, tiles that are obviously quite a bit faster. So I've already replaced these with plastic tiles. That's a nice improvement. I'm trying to replace the ladder as I can with, plastic ladder. Make that work a little bit faster. Get those duplicants moving. Okay, so here's what I could do for this gas pump. I could just go ahead and add just a little mini gas pump to this. I mean, sure, it isn't going to move a whole lot, but I can maximize at least that area. I'll add a little bit of power to that as well. And then I can use a gas bridge to bring in, the gas for that. It's only another 60 grams per second as long as it can actually pump that much. But, hey, it's more, so that should be better. So it looks like this is working out. I'm getting 500 grams out of this gas pump over here on the left. And then that's moving up to... more. by the time it's coming out. Let's go ahead and deconstruct this real quick and put some more diamond thermal shift plates inside of here to make this, at least give it a better opportunity, right? To cool things down. Not that it's really going to be better, but it's going to, at least what I want to see is the temperature up here on the top left compared to the temperature on the bottom right to be a fair bit closer, although it is already really close. You know what? I'm going to do it anyhow. Because send 3 duplicates over there just to build that up and build it very, very quickly. Come on, guys. Oh, they got to bring the diamond up to it. That's why. Speaking of which, though, I do have some more Wheezeworts over here. So that's 2 more I could add to that cooler, and there is room in order to make that work. So definitely going to add that. So that would require me to move this flower pot and all of this stuff up 1 spot. Have you guys seen the animation for the rock granulator down here? It's hilarious. They just punch this little button over there and that like smashes the rocks down. So what I'm doing is I'm making a little bit more iron right now. I've got a lot of it, so I figured I might as well just smash some up here. Make a little extra sand. It's not as efficient. Well, it's about as 50% as efficient as what I have going on down here. But right now that's kind of heat soaked, so I gotta let that cool down. And I'd like to get at least some of the wires done tonight. Okay, so one of the things I've noticed, at least with this area over here, is now that I put all those thermal shift plates inside of there, the thermal mass of this area has gone up quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see how this works out once I get back to the whole temperature thing. So I'm going to go ahead and make this 55 degrees. That'll allow it to run. I'll then pump in some more heat, and we'll see how quickly things change here. So once the metal refinery runs, we'll get some hot stuff out. And we'll see how quickly this temperature goes back up. Obviously, I'm going to add more Wheezeworts to this and increase its cooling. That did bring the temperature up quite a bit. Gosh, already up to 60, but we can see that the temperature of the hydrogen up here, it is going up. 55, 58. It's still working. I just need more cooling, really. Here's what I'm going to do, because I keep, pulling in a little bit of hydrogen into this system right here. I'm going to finally put a filter on it. It will cost a lot of power, but at this point, I have a lot of power. Another thing people were talking about is just putting the hatches right down here inside of the fertilizer, right next to the fertilizer makers. That way, boom, it just becomes coal. I kind of like that idea, as far as, having it just be in a really good spot. At the same time, though, I kind of like the idea of having some fertilizer available if I need it, depending on what I need to grow. I would say it's probably a good idea to probably have a couple of those hatches like right here and here, and then just leave the other ones be. That way I'm not constantly delivering it up to the top part there. I don't think I have the plastic available though to make that right now. No, don't you ate the plastic! Now I have even less plastic. So one of the other liquids that I could definitely run this metal refinery off of is polluted water, if I wanted to bring that in there, because that polluted water is going to be deleted down here. So it doesn't really matter that it would be hot going into that. At the same time, though, the piping situation down here is madness. I added another liquid lock right here. Keep this carbon dioxide from flowing out, because I've noticed this area has kind of started to build up a little bit. Can you believe it? All of these storage compactors now are pretty much full. The amount of resources I have, it's just ridiculous. Okay, one thing I've noticed about decor here is that things like the fire pole and the ladders, those really do hurt your decor. Those are both -15 in this area. I've added many masterpieces and beautiful paintings to mask the amount of negative decor there. But as you can see, that's -30, so you got to do something, or otherwise that's going to really bring it down, especially if you're running like wires behind that as well, because that could stack up to be a pretty major debuff. Hey, this looks like it's working out pretty good now. I've got a good amount of slime over here. Then again, I think that slime is being delivered from way over here. Of course it is. It looks like there's a fairly substantial cold biome up here in the top left. And it looks like there's also another one of those little like research centers up here as well. That'll all be very useful. I wonder what else is up here. Because there might be some more wheezeworts around that I could tap into and really put to good use. This area over here on the right, it's nice and cold, but there's no wheezeworts inside of it. Might be able to use it as a farm or something at some point. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in between that and that. I don't know. We'll have to see where we go from here. I'm looking forward to the next update as far as, this game is concerned. It looks like it's about a week out, as long as they're on schedule. We'll have to see. It is the holiday time around here, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're, they've been keeping a pretty good pace as far as my opinion thus far. So, I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. At any rate, though, that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode of Oxygen Not Included. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, again, I already said that. If I've earned your subscription, then thanks so much for that. Have a great day, guys. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out. You want to see something dope? Check this out. Whoop. Wiper built right in. Boom.